We've got Barcelona against Atletico in Spain. Some massive relegation scraps in Italy.
Bayern go head-to-head against Leipzig, and my Liverpool go against Snooze's Spurs. Plus, much, much more on today's episode of the No Business Soccer Podcast.
Let's dig in. Oh, yes.
It always
That was
hits.
good. We got to find a way to fade that a little bit, you know? It's just like, whatever. We're here to talk soccer. Welcome back to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and I'm here with almost full family. We got a treat for y'all today. We don't have Danny P on the ones and twos. We got the Brainiac J-Fam back there, baby. We'll see how he does. So, please excuse his rustiness, okay? He's never done this before. That's not true. He's done it before.
You hear that, Daniel? He says a treat. You're not here. You hear that? Or Danny P? You hear that?
Yeah, I know, right? Government names over here. And of course, you heard him already. That's my boy, Hype Man Vic. Hype Man, what you sipping on today?
I'll tell you what. Well, today we're just going with a nice little easy pour. Little hard to find bottle. Snooze, you know a little bit about this one. This is Blanton's. This is the mini one. My hand isn't big. This is a mini one. This is a 375.
No, yeah, you have massive hands.
I do not. Everybody. So yeah, nice easy pour today. Nice easy Thursday. Cheers, everyone.
Boom. Cheers. Well, as he's sipping that down, we will say that today's episode will be fairly quick. We have a look ahead for the weekend. And all the leagues are playing, and then the next weekends we'll be missing some teams. So this is the last weekend before I think January, like the mid January, that we're going to have 4 complete leagues. So let's enjoy it. If you're around, if you're hanging out, if you're not doing anything for Christmas yet, just sit back and enjoy some full weekend of soccer, of football, whatever you want to call it. Because yeah, we're gonna miss it for a couple weeks. We'll only have a few leagues to talk about. We'll be scrapping. I'm sure we can find something to talk about. We still need to talk about what we're going to talk about. So, but with that said, I think it's time, Vic. You ready to jump into this?
I think so. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Where we're going first?
Italia
to Serie A.
Yes.
Fantastic.
There we go. So, of course, we have to start with the table. What am I doing?
Yeah, we'll start with the table. Nothing's changed from our last episode that everybody watched for sure all the way through. Atalanta is on the way on top, or still on top with 37 points on a dominant run. I think it's 10 in a row. Is that right, Snooze? Like, absolutely killing it over there in Serie A. Napoli right behind it. Even though Atalanta is absolutely killing it, Napoli is just 2 points behind them with 35 points. Inter Milan have 34 points in the third spot with a game in hand, and Fiorentina also are rounding out the top 4 with 31 points, and tickling the top 4, as we say. Lazio with 31 points as well, fighting to get into those Champions League spots. Taking a look at the bottom of the table, Cagliari have 14 points. And again, Monza and Valencia in the 19th and 20th spot, fighting for relegation, apparently. They're both in the last 4 games, both have 2 draws, 2 losses. Got to get something out of these games coming up. But yeah, fighting for last place. And let's see who can cement their spot on the bottom, holding up the rest of the table for the rest of the season here.
Who can hold up that table, as you say. Okay, well, now that we have a refresher on where these teams stand, let's dig in a bit to some of the fixtures. On Friday, 12/20, Verona stopped their skid of 4 straight losses last time out, but they take on a ever-confusing Milan side who randomly have also won only once in their last 5 Serie A matches. Go figure. This is going to be... You assume Milan would win this, but we have no idea what Milan does this year. On Saturday, 12/21, Bologna, who might have turned a corner, get Torino on the road. Torino won last match day, but they hadn't won for 6 matches prior to that. So we'll see how this one turns out. 13th in the table, Genoa take on 2nd Napoli. Genoa look to establish their mid-table status, while Napoli look to get back into first place. And Lazio go on the road to take on the Milkmen. And Lazio need this one because they were embarrassed 6-0 by Inter, if you remember. And they're definitely going to be angry for this one. I think Lazio should be able to get it done. Our Lazio, let's get it done. Sunday, the 22nd of December, struggling Roma take on Parma. And this Parma team have lost twice in a row now. Both teams are there for the taking and eager to win. So Roma obviously struggling, Parma struggling. Sneaky good match, actually. I like the way both of these teams are playing recently. So we'll find out. Not that they're playing good, but, they're fun to watch. Okay, and then as Vic was talking about, Venezia and Cagliari face off in what could be, as they call it, a 6-pointer. We'll talk more about that in a second. The unstoppable Atalanta take on a struggling Empoli side who have only won once in their last 5 matches, and I don't see ATL streak ending here. Let's just put it that way. Second bottom Monza take on Juve, who've drawn 4 straight Serie A matches. Monza would definitely take a draw here. We shall see if they can get it. Monday, December 23rd, Fiorentina look to get back on track against Udinese. We'll dig more into that in a second. And we also have powerhouse Inter welcome the little engine that could in Como to the San Siro. Inter just put 6 past Lazio, as we said a second ago, and I don't think they're going to let this one stay close for too long, but we shall see. And I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but Como, apparently they're trying out Dele Alli, who, as a Spurs dude, that would be really cool to see that. I miss Dele Alli. Dele, if you see this, I miss you, man. Okay, let's dig into a couple matches here. First, Vic, we'll talk about Venezia and Cagliari. And in this match here, it's not just about the American midfielder playing for Venezia and Buzio. It's not just about the coolest crest in the game for Cagliari. It's also not about Drake jumping in to sponsor Venezia's kits for this season. So if you're a big Drake fan, it's not about that. What it is about, though, is the chaos and the pure batshit crazy that happens in relegation scraps. Like you were talking about, who's going to be ultimately holding up that table. Both of these teams are sitting in the relegation places, clawing their way out, trying to anyway. And in Venezia's case, they're on 10 points, and they aren't going to be many opportunities like this to directly affect a team that's this close to them in the table. So if you have a chance to kind of nick points off a team that's above you in this fight, let's go ahead and do that. And a loss for Cagliari isn't the end of the world, though. So they're kind of playing with a little bit of house money, if you will. They currently sit 4 points ahead of Venezia with 14. But if you think about it this way, Vic, you saw the table. 17 points is good enough to move up to 12th place. So that's it. I mean, obviously, other teams are going to get more points too, but you get my point. At this point, 17 points gets you up to 12th. And make no mistake, it's a huge, huge game for both teams, especially for Cagliari, who are they're just trying to escape that relegation scrap altogether. I think we got to go for Venezia, though, right? They have an American playing for them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, got to keep up with the red, white, and blue. You know what I mean?
All right. I read an interview. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's gonna be pretty hard though, because Venezia, even though if they win, they're still gonna be 19th or 20th, right? So to string together a couple wins the way this team has been playing, it's gonna be pretty crazy. But this is a good place to start out, the 18th place team. So
yeah, right.
This is
it doesn't get better than this chance. I mean,
yeah.
It does, but not by a lot. So
yeah.
I read an article. Another reason why I chose this match to highlight. It's a match that we're going to be watching. So the reason, though, is because Buzio was in an interview for some U.S. based article, and I wish I could find it so I can cite them now. But anyway, he was talking about how match days for Venezia is so awesome because obviously they're in Venice, so they go to their locker rooms and stuff at this one point, and when they go to game, like it's time to go to the game, go to the stadium, they all get onto the gondolas, like the boats, and they take the boat down to the stadium and they dock. And apparently there's a dock that goes right into the locker rooms at the actual stadium. And that's how they get there. I was like, damn, that is awesome. Yeah, what an experience.
There's no cars there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I know, right? Like it makes sense. Obviously they don't have, well, from what I've seen, there's not roads in like that main district. But you just don't picture it being, it is like it is, but that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I'm going for Venezia, and we shall see. The next match I want to talk about is Fiorentina versus Udinese. There aren't a ton of big on bigs in Serie A this weekend, but Fiorentina, who sit fourth in the table, take on Udinese in ninth. And Udinese have had an up and down season, to say the least. But that mid-table in the Serie A is so tight that even though they've only won once in the last 5 matches, they're still sitting in the top half, which is crazy. Fiorentina's loss to Bologna last weekend meant that their incredible unbeaten run has ended. But the good thing for them is that Lazio, Inter, and Napoli have all recently dropped points as well. So they haven't really lost too much ground in the table, as Vic was showing us a little bit earlier. This one should be an entertaining one, as Viola look to keep their Scudetto dreams alive. We shall see. Hopefully they can get back in there. But Udinese are trying to establish themselves as a top half of the table team versus a team that's kind of just trying to avoid the relegation scrap. So we'll see. I don't know if Udinese is real yet, and I don't know if Fiorentina is really in the Scudetto race, but this one will go a long way towards telling us who is the real team in their respective battles. And we get to wear our jerseys.
That's right. I'm about to say that. We'll be wearing our purple for sure on that day, and it's going to be hard for them too, because they even if they win this one, they're just going up maybe to third place, so one more spot for them from Fiorentina. It's going to be pretty hard to catch the way Atalanta's have been playing, and also Napoli still going in the Champions League Scudetto race. I don't know. We'll see.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little hopeful. What's it called? Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I think we don't want to throw too many curveballs. This is it for Serie A. I'm saying this so that we have Brainiac in the back. He's not going to catch a curveball. So where do we want to go, Vic? You choose.
Well, I will choose with all my wisdom what we have next in our notes to La Liga.
Yes. I just want to let you know, Vic, I threw it to you because in case our boy Brainiac J-Fam messed up in the back, I didn't want it to be on me. So I wanted you to have to choose that. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks.
Well, we are in Spain now, so let's remind them what the table looks like.
Yeah. First things first, there were a couple of makeup games that happened, not gangs, that happened yesterday. Both were 1-1 draws. It was Villarreal and Rayo Vallecano, and also Espanyol and Valencia for the table. What that meant? Absolutely nothing. Nothing really changed, except I believe Rayo Vallecano went up 1 spot. So it still looks the same the way it was. And and that is Barcelona on top, of course, 38 points. Atletico Madrid tie with them with 38 points in the second spot. Obviously, more goals for Barcelona. They still have the same. Oh, no, they don't have the same goal differential. It's 30 and 20. Never mind. But Barcelona did just lose. Atletico Madrid looks absolutely amazing right now. So hopefully they can continue. And maybe Barcelona slips up again. We don't know. They haven't been in the best form. For the third spot is Real Madrid with 37 points, just 1 game behind them. Not to mention Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid have a game in hand on Barcelona, so they could be passing them up anyway. And then Athletic Bilbao, or Athletic Club, however you want to say it, have 33 points, a 4-point gap there in the 4th spot, rounding out the top 4 and tickling the top 4 is Villarreal with 27 points, even bigger gap there, although they haven't been in the best form either, coming off 2 losses and a draw. Not looking great for them, but we'll see how things go as we continue with the season. At the bottom of the table, Espanyol is in the 18th spot with 15 points. Real Valladolid, my Voli Dolies, are in the 12th spot, the 19th spot with 12 points. And then Valencia did get a draw, so they got a little extra point there for them. They still have 2 games in hand to catch up. 1 game in hand to catch up with everybody. Of course, everything that happened in Valencia. So we'll see if they stay at the bottom spot, but they will stay in relegation. Even if they do win, they have 11 points holding up the rest of the table. So we'll see how they can do, but let's take a look at the fixtures coming up. Back to you, Snooze.
Yeah, we got some bangers coming up. On Friday, 12:20, Girona have lost 2 straight La Liga matches, but they take on Vic's Volidoli, which is typically a very good thing. Unfortunately, sorry, Vic. But Valladolid did get 3 points in their last match, as Vic was telling us or showing us. And can they keep the good vibes going against Girona? Maybe not. Maybe so. I don't know. We shall find out. Still don't see that jersey, that kit that Vic been telling us he's going to get since the summer.
Can't find it. Can't find it.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, if you're from Valladolid, please please send us one.
Yes.
Saturday, 12:21, Getafe, or 21:12, whichever one you want to say. Getafe take on Mallorca early Saturday morning. Mallorca have been a pleasant surprise towards the top of the table this season, while Getafe are trying to find a way out of the relegation streets, still fighting their way out. Real Sociedad look to get back on their winning ways as they get Celta Vigo. Celta sit 13th at the moment, while La Real are looking to get themselves back into the European places before the winter break. And Osasuna in 8th place are without a win in their last 5 La Liga matches. I think that was probably when I gave them their flowers. And they get a home date against Bilbao, who have won 4 of their last 5 matches. We shall see how this one turns out. Then it is a banger as we get 2 heavyweights going at it in Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. We'll dig into this matchup more in a second. On Sunday, December 22nd, we have an important relegation scrap between bottom of the table Valencia and 17th Alaves. Could be a 6-pointer, as they say. Real Madrid take on Sevilla at the Bernabeu as both teams are desperate to get a string of results going. And inform Las Palmas, let me say that again, the inform Las Palmas look to inch closer to that mid-table as they take on relegation candidate and 18th Espanyol. The mighty Leganés, who beat Barca in their last time out, get a home match against Villarreal, who are without a win in their last 5 La Liga matches. For Leganés, any points will do, but they might be catching Villarreal at the right time. We shall see. That one's going to be sneaky fun to watch. And we also have a mid-table clash as Real Betis take on Rayo Vallecano. Both teams have only won once in their last 5 matches. And I believe that is it for La Liga. Okay. Yeah, it was. I don't know why my notes looked weird there. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Matches that we're watching this weekend. We have, of course, Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Vic, let me ask this question before we even dive into this. Do you have a preferred team in La Liga? We've never talked about this, but this is weird.
Yeah, Bilbao. I had my uncles that.
Oh, that's right. We did talk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I got enough. Yeah, we talked about it. I got slippers and a hat.
Yes. Okay, you're right. Yeah, we have. I was more or less thinking like a preference between Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona. So I guess I should have framed it that way. Do you have a preference on those 3 teams?
No, not really. Okay, if anything, Atletico Madrid, because they're not the biggest. Real and Barcelona, maybe.
Yeah,
but that doesn't really matter, honestly. Why?
No, I was just asking, just curious, because I kind of lean the same way. I've always been Barcelona over Real Madrid type of guy, but Atletico Madrid, they kind of, since they came on, since Cholo has been there, it's kind of been, it's been fun to watch. And I saw a documentary a couple of years ago now where they were like following this kid who grew up in that part of Madrid, and he was like a diehard Atletico fan, and it's just him going to the game and going to the match days. And I don't know, I just always saw it and was like, man, that would be awesome. I want to go one day. So yeah, this one's going to be fun. It's like 2 teams that I kind of have an affinity for. I like, but let's dig into some of the numbers here. Okay, let's get back into it. It's first versus second. It's big on big. It's the top scoring team in Barcelona versus the best defensive team in Atletico Madrid going at it. Current form could not be more different, though, as Atleti are riding an 11-game winning streak in all competitions, while Barcelona have only won once in their previous 5 La Liga matches. Sorry, tongue twister. I'll probably say that a lot here. Another thing to note is that Lamine Yamal picked up an ankle injury last match and will be out for at least a month to recover from that. We've already seen how this Barca team plays without that 17-year-old, and it's not pretty. So it's fair to say that in this scrap to see who's going to win the La Liga title, this has massive implications in that. But it's even more important when you consider that Atleti still have a game in hand. So even if they lose this one, they still have a chance to catch up. But if they win, I mean, that's insane, because then they could be shooting up a few points past Barcelona. It's just going to be really big game to watch. This will be the last match day for La Liga until they resume January 10th as well. So I know both teams will want to be going out onto the break on kind of on a high. Obviously, Atleti are already there. They've won 11 straight, so they want to win 12 straight with Barcelona's scalp. Is that the term, like a scalp on their hip?
Yeah, their scalp. You can collect their scalp.
I guess collect their scalp. Yeah, okay, that's just seemed weird to say, but then for some reason I wanted to say that. So, but yeah, so I'm leaning actually in this one. I am leading Atletico Madrid just because we talked about when Barcelona had dropped two matches in a row a couple weeks ago. Like Lamine Yamal was one of the main reasons that happened because he wasn't there. And he's not there again. So they're going up against a team that is the informed team, probably one of the informed teams in Europe. Yeah, I see this one going to Atleti. I think it is Atletico on the road, though, just to verify, right?
Mm-hmm. It's
Yep.
Barca.
Yep. So, yep, it's I don't know. I'm leading Atletico Madrid. Who are you leaning?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Atletico Madrid too, just because of the form. Despite Lamine Yamal, did you see his new shoes? New shoes he came out with?
No, he had new shoes.
He came out with some pink cleats. They look clean. They look clean as hell. Yeah, we'll see if I can find some. They look clean as hell, man. I'll see if we can find a picture or something. But
that is awesome. Yeah. Well, he won't be wearing them for a bit because he is injured. So hopefully he gets back on there, and hopefully this is a hell of a game. I'm looking forward to watching this one. The next match we need to talk about is Real Madrid versus Sevilla, and on paper, it's a match between two of the bigger clubs in Spain. Though this season, as things stand, Real Madrid are third in the table, and Sevilla sit 11th, which is kind of crazy. Perennial Europa League powerhouse Sevilla have struggled to get things going as they have a record of 6 wins, 4 draws, and 7 losses. The good news for Sevilla is that Real Madrid have dropped points in 2 of their last 3 La Liga matches, though, which doesn't happen often. So there's typically never really a good time to get Los Blancos. But if this is a mini skid, if you call it a skid, or do I got to do both? This is about as good as it gets whenever you're talking about a matchup against Real Madrid. And another note for Sevilla is that it will be Jesus Navas' last professional match in football as he is retiring early due to chronic hip issues. We went into detail about that in our last episode. If you want, go check out that. And Los Rojiblancos will have a lot to play for because of it. So we shall see. There'll be a lot of heart and a lot of desire in that one. While Real Madrid are finally healthy up front, and Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. are finally appearing anyway to play and have some chemistry up front. And they're scoring goals together now, which is a scary thought. And not to mention Arda Güler, Rodrigo, they're all starting to go as well. Defensively, they might be a little out of shape. But as far as the attacking options, they are not lacking, my friend. This Real Madrid side, if they all start clicking and they're defensively, on the defensive side of the ball, they start to get a little bit healthier, they will be really, really tough to beat. And it's not like they didn't just win, the freaking Champions League last season, right? So, yeah, they're a team that's never too far off. But for some reason, I feel like Sevilla is going to have that heart. They're going to be going into it for Jesus Navas, and not that he's going to be able to do much, but I don't know. I feel like it's like a 1-0 or a 2-1 Sevilla.
Did you see? Did you see his retirement or like what he did?
No, what did he do?
So they had a little display with a where you just put a kit on. I want to keep calling it jersey, but I caught myself there for you guys. Kit on, but he took his captain's armband off, put it in the little display, took his kit off, and put it on the display. And it was
that's awesome.
It was pretty cool though, but it was right after the game, literally right after the game. The game worn captain sleeve and captain's armband
awesome.
And his game worn jersey he donated to Sevilla, so it'll be there for him. Local legend.
Well, we shall see.
I think just because of that, because it was so awesome, I'm going to go Sevilla for this match.
You both are, and we both might look dumb, but we're going with our hearts this one.
You do that a lot anyway, so
I know. I give out flowers, and then they just suck after that. So, okay. Well, that's what we're watching in La Liga. Vic, where are we headed to next?
No. Where we headed to next? It's your turn.
All right. Let's go to the Bundesliga. You got cut off.
I asked you to do it, and I did it anyway. Yeah, it cut me off. That was a good move. That was right.
No. You can do that still. It's fine. Well, let's give them what they want. They want a refresher of the table. Vic.
Yeah, well, let's take a look. You see Bayern Munich on top again. They usually are on top all the freaking time. But right behind them is Bayer Leverkusen with 29 points. Bayern Munich has 33 points. My bad. Coming off a loss, and in the third spot, my favorite team to say, Eintracht Frankfurt, is 27 points. Tied with them is RB Leipzig with 27 points as well. RB Leipzig on a 2-win streak. Don't look now; it might be coming up here. pretty soon, climbing up the table. And tickling the top four that we like to say, Freiburg with 24 points. Taking a look at the bottom of the table, you'll see Holstein Kiel with 5 points. And looks like they're trying to give a little bit of competition to Bochum for the bottom of the table, even though Bochum only has 3 points. But man, two points of that came in the last 5 games for Bochum. They got to get some sort of consistency going on here or something. At least put some more draws out there. But Holstein Kiel in the 17th spot with 5 points. Bochum in the last spot with 3 points. I don't think there's going to be any kind of competition for what 2 teams are going to be relegated this year. It's got to be them two, because the next team above them has 10 points, double what they have. So I don't know. We'll see. But let's see what they have this week in our fixtures. Snooze, what do we got?
Yeah, if you look at that table, that third spot for the relegation playoff. Sorry, yeah, I know. Hey, look at you switched it. That relegation playoff team that's right there in the third spot, they're going to be pissed because they're like, I was so much better than those 2 losers down there, and yet I still have to fight for my spot in the league. That's got to sting. Okay, we can talk about the fixtures now. Yeah. So on Friday, Bayern, let's see. Yep, that's right. On Friday, Bayern lost for the first time in the Bundesliga the last time out, but they are going against Leipzig, who are on a 2-game winning streak. They throw down Friday night, and this one could have really, really big title implications, as Vic was just talking about. This one's going to be awesome. We'll talk about it more in a sec. Stuttgart seemed to have finally turned a corner on their rough start to the year, and they take on St. Pauli, who are in the thick of a relegation battle. Could be a good time to get St. Pauli. Eintracht Frankfurt, who all their fans, if they see this, they probably hate the way Vic says that, are looking to avenge their loss to Leipzig last time out, but they are getting the only team to defeat Bayern in the Bundesliga this term in Mainz. This one should be a good one, sneaky good one. I'm actually looking forward to this one a lot. Holstein Kiel have lost 5 straight matches as they go head-to-head with Augsburg, who've only won once in their last 5 matches. So who knows what happens in that one. Werder Bremen look to extend their 2-game winning streak as they get Union Berlin at home. Union are in a full slump as they are winless in their last 7 Bundesliga matches. They were doing so well at the beginning of the season, too. Hoffenheim still seem to be riding that new coach bump as they get mid-table Gladbach at home. Second in the table, Leverkusen take on 5th Freiburg. We'll dig more into that one in a second as well. And boy, oh boy, Bochum, who are firmly holding up that table, get Heidenheim, who have 7 straight losses in all competitions. Yeah, this one, I don't know what to say about.
Something's got to
give. Wolfsburg take on Dortmund at Signal Iduna Park. And actually, I lied to you earlier. We're not talking about Frankfurt and Mainz. We're talking about, anyway, whatever. Wolfsburg take on Dortmund at Signal Iduna Park in an attempt to retake their flowers as they were given a couple weeks back. And Dortmund have drawn 3 straight matches, and prior to last week's loss, Wolfsburg had won 4 straight matches. So this one should be fun. Wolfsburg, I think they have it. But it is on the road, so we shall see. Okay, let's take a look at some of the matches we'll be watching this weekend in the Bundesliga. And we'll start first with Leverkusen versus Freiburg. Never losing Leverkusen, as they're called, or I call them, I guess maybe it'll catch on. We'll see. They're getting back into last year's form as they're currently unbeaten in the last 8 matches since losing to Liverpool in the Champions League. This includes wins over Bayern and Inter. So, yeah, they've tried to atone for that 4-0 ass whooping they got in the Champions League thanks to your boys. Look at that. I said that twice. There you go.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. When this Leverkusen team are rolling, they are very hard to beat for anyone. And not to mention that Florian Wirtz has started to get hot, as we talked about last time. He has 2 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 Bundesliga matches. And they are taking on Freiburg, though, who are in their own right having a hell of a season. And they're currently sitting in 5th place. They have hit a bit of a skid in the last 5 match days, but they're coming off a win against Wolfsburg, who we talked about a second ago, who were on a pretty good winning streak of their own. So if Freiburg are going to get anything going in this one, though, or if they're going to get anything from this one at all as far as points are concerned, they're going to need help from their league-leading assist leader. He's their lead assist leader, but he's also tied for the lead in the league. That's a lot of words. Anyway,
we get it.
Vincenzo Griffo in 23-24 season. He finished with 8 goals and 7 assists. No, I got that number wrong. But either way, at the halfway mark, yes, it is 8 goals and 8 assists. At the halfway mark of this season, he already has 3 goals and 7 assists. So, I mean, this guy, he's hitting new heights. I don't know how old he is. I should put that in here. But either way, he's finding some kind of form this time around. And if they're going to get anything from this game, they really need him to start going. And it feels like Leverkusen are the stronger side in this one, but football's weird. Weird stuff happens. We don't know how this one will turn out. But what we do know is that Leverkusen have a very good chance of getting this one done. And Freiburg are going to be right there with them, giving them a run for their money. Okay. Well, before we move off it, Vic, do you have a preference here? Do you know who you want to go in?
I don't know, man. Freiburg look like if they're in a movie, like they're the villains, right? Their badge is like just black and white. It has like a vulture crow thing on it.
Yeah,
like they're
like
obviously the villains, right? Even though, well, I don't know. And plus, never losing Leverkusen's cool to say. So I'm gonna go with Bayern Leverkusen on this one.
There we go. Yeah, that team, they're fun to watch. They're doing good right now. I'm going Leverkusen as well. Although, like I was saying, Freiburg up to this point have had a great season. So we'll find out. But the next match that we're going to be watching in the Bundesliga this weekend is Bayern versus Leipzig, the one that everyone's talking about. We broke down Leipzig's season last episode. You can go back and check it out. But to quickly recap, they finally seem to have turned things around on the pitch, and they've gotten their young goal scorer, Benjamin Sesko, heating up. And they appear to have gotten Bayern at the right time, as Vincent Kompany's men lost for the first time in the Bundesliga season. And I also was listening to a podcast, I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago, where they were saying the results that they were getting didn't really match some of the underlying stats for this Bayern team, and that they were destined is the word I'm looking for some regression as far as the luck is concerned on some of their goals they were scoring and the results they were getting. But it seems that the bad luck has finally caught up with them a bit. But has it fully? That's really the question. Is this really a bad a pandemic, if you will, for this Bayern team, or is it just kind of a little cough? Is it just a little cold, a little short cold? Because one thing that I will say is that Harry Kane has been hurt for the past couple of matches, and those are the ones they got taken advantage of. They couldn't score that many goals, and I think he's back for this match. I was looking at it just before we got on, and everything seems to point to him playing tomorrow. So I will tell you one thing. He is definitely bringing more goals with him when he's on the pitch. So this one should be a banger at the Allianz Arena. And while I think that Leipzig, they have taken steps this season, I don't think that they're ready to be title contenders yet. I think Bayern end up getting it done. And honestly, I see them probably putting 3 or 4 past Leipzig and getting it done pretty easily. But hopefully not for the mutual fan. I think, it'd be better to watch if it's closer. But I don't know. I just feel like Bayern are a little upset. Harry Kane's back. Leipzig they've been good as of late, but they're there for the taking. So I'm going Bayern like 4-2.
It's gonna be tough to say. I mean, Leipzig right now, I've only given up 15, tied for the best, 15 goals this year. So they're gonna need a lot of Harry Kane if they want to score some goals against Leipzig.
I'll take a lot of Harry Kane any day.
I know you will. You tell us all the time for some reason. They do only have 23 goals for them, Leipzig. So you can see defense is definitely keeping them in the game and up top on the table there. So in good old hype man Vic fashion, I think defense wins championships. I'm gonna go RB Leipzig in this one.
Okay.
1-0.
Wow. Is this a lunch bet? Are we putting lunch on this?
We could put a lunch bet on it.
All right. Hey,
let's do it. I think do you still owe me lunch, or did we do that already?
No, I thought they. Oh wait, for the freaking Italy versus Switzerland match.
Yeah.
No, we still haven't done that.
Right.
Dang, I'm gonna have to owe you 2 lunches if they lose. Okay, right. Bayern, let's get it done. We already shook on it.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, that is it for the Bundesliga. Now let us go to everyone's favorite league, the Premier League. Vic,
to the Prem.
And time for some Prem. I know that there's been a lot that's going on. So, Vic, let's give the people what they want. What's the table look like?
Yeah, a lot going on, but more of the same on top. It's the Reds, baby. Liverpool on top with
You
30.
love saying that. You love saying
Yes,
that.
yes, yes, with 36 points. Hopefully, we'll say it until the end of the season because Liverpool still does have a game in hand. So don't forget the Mother Nature saved Everton just a couple weeks ago. So played 15. Behind them is Chelsea. We have 34 points, but they have played 16 matches. So they're still doing pretty good. Watching Chelsea is kind of fun nowadays. And, they from where they started off this season, definitely way better position for them. Behind them is Arsenal in the third spot. They have 30 points, and behind them is Nottingham Forest to round out the top four for those Champions League spots with 28 points. And tickling the top four, not really often you get to say, it's Manchester City in the fifth spot for a Europa League. We called it out on Monday and Tuesday, but can you imagine them in the Europa League?
That is just
Crazy.
hilarious.
Yeah, but they have been absolutely dreadful form ever since. I think it was Sporting SC in the Champions League beat them. So don't know what happened, but it's all been downhill from there.
For the record, Spurs beat them first in the FA Cup.
Was it? Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah,
and then that sparked the losing streak. Just want to remind everyone.
All right. Well, we thank you for your service. And speaking of downhill, we'll go down to the 18th spot. Ipswich Town are the first in line to get relegated with 12 points. Behind them is Wolverhampton Wanderers with 9 points. And at the very bottom, Southampton with 5 points. On another 3-game losing streak, not doing too well. But we'll see how they can bounce back and see if they want to fight out of relegation or if they just want to be the base of the table there. Someone's got to do it. Might as well do it. Yeah. But let's see who they are facing this week. Snooze, you're going to go over some fixtures for us.
I will, but let's go back to the table for a second because we have to talk about one thing. We talked about this a little bit off air, and I just have to air my grievances, okay? Because if you take a look at the 10th place in the table, mid-table, we have one Tottenham Hotspur. But look at it. Vic was just joking, and I don't think he meant to joke. He was just like making a statement, and it just got me. It just pissed me off because if you look at the table, Spurs have a 17 goal differential, which is freaking third best in the league. We have 19 goals against, which is third best in the league. And we have only we have one goal less than Chelsea, who have 37 goals. We have 36. That's second best in the league. Yet we are 10th in the table. It is so stupid frustrating. Anyway.
Because I was looking at the table because I was about to talk to it right now. And I was like, hell of a 17 goal differential in our 10th? What the hell?
That's my point, man.
Sorry, man. It's got to be tough, man. I can't imagine that because we just win all the time.
Okay.
I was kidding. We got 2 draws in a row. Okay, we're flirting with our downfall.
We have some business to talk about too. So let's get into it. Saturday, Aston Villa welcome Manchester City to Villa Park, who are coming in off of that loss to the Manchester Derby. And let's not forget that they have only won twice in their past 11 matches in all competitions. Manchester City are definitely looking for, or they're out for some blood, I guess I should say. It's 9th against 13th as Brighton take on West Ham at the London Stadium. Both teams will look to get back to winning ways, as Brighton have only won once in the last 5 and West Ham have only won twice in their last 5. So let's get back to it. I thought that both teams would be further up the table to where they are. This one will be fun. Ipswich Town, who are just on the cusp of getting out of the relegation battle, take on Newcastle, who are still struggling for form themselves, but they sit 12th in the table, which is crazy. You didn't think about that would happen at the beginning of the season. They are coming off a 4-0 win against Leicester this past weekend, though. Maybe that was just the spark they needed. We shall find out. Ipswich have been playing well. Nottingham Forest, who are currently in the Champions League places, also crazy, go on the road to take on mid-table Brentford. Forest will look to make it 3 wins in a row, while Brentford are just fighting for some consistency. I don't know what to think of this Brentford team. Third place Arsenal take on 15th Crystal Palace. And oddly enough, both teams, I repeat that, 15th place Crystal Palace and third place Arsenal, both haven't lost in their last 5 matches, which is crazy, more so because of the Crystal Palace side. But they look to continue to keep their heads above the relegation scrap. Palace was looking like one of the worst teams in the league until these past 5 match days. I think maybe a little bit before that too. A point will do in this one for them, and I think maybe they can get it. Maybe I'm a hater. Sunday, Danny P's Everton have a date with second place Chelsea at Goodison Park. Everton will look to impress their new ownership. We'll talk about that more on the European reach around on Monday. While Chelsea are dead set on showing that there is no such thing as a curse of the flowers, we shall find out. We shall find out. I forgot I did that. Manchester United in 13th take on 6th place Bournemouth. And no, that is not a typo or a mix-up. Manchester United are in 13th and Bournemouth are in 6th. Crazy. It's a big test for both teams. We'll talk about that more in a second. Fulham and bottom of the table Southampton go at it at Craven Cottage. And for the Cottagers, it seems pretty straightforward. They should be getting a win here based on the tests they faced recently and passed in the previous 4 match days. We talked about it last episode. But football is weird. We shall see how it turns out. I don't think it's going to be crazy in this one, though. We have a 6-pointer, as they call it, when Leicester take on Wolves in a huge match in terms of the relegation battle. Wolves will be welcoming Vitor. Is that like Victor in Vitor Pereira onto the touchline. And there's a bit of a buzz around his arrival. I was listening to a podcast about it earlier today. He's an interesting figure. We shall see how it turns out. I say shall see a lot. Maybe I need to find a better term for that. We're going to put a ticker on there. And top of the table, Liverpool travel to North London to take on Tottenham. These are typically high energy, entertaining affairs. And we'll talk more about that in a second. Vic, how nervous are you first?
I'm not nervous at all.
Okay.
I mean, we're taking on a 10th place team.
Yeah, the 10th place. Golly. Well, let's talk about some stats first, and then we'll go in on our little. There's no bet here because I'm not confident at all. But anyway, the last 5 matches between Liverpool and Spurs have ended 3 Liverpool wins, 1 Tottenham win, which there's a lot of controversy around that one, and a draw. And the Spurs win, like I was saying, controversial. It was we were watching it at a bar before we took off to Italy, actually, and it was a lot of fun. But this was the one, if you remember, Vic, which I'm sure you do, the VAR team ruled it offside, but on the field, the ref heard the wrong thing and confirmed that it was like right. They ruled it that it was onside. Sorry, and they gave it to him. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
They were like, there's nothing we could do. The game went on. Like, yes, you can stop it. We do it all the time.
That was crazy. That was insane to me. Like, you knew you messed up, and they still continued the game. But anyway, Liverpool have only lost once this season, and Spurs are kind of all over the place. As Vic was saying, the Spurs, they don't draw. They just lose. Lose or win, but mostly, if they're ups and downs, mostly downs of late. They did just win today over Manchester United in the Carabao Cup quarterfinal, so maybe they carry some momentum into this game. But momentum doesn't mean shit to us because we just win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 5. I don't know. So we'll see how it happens. For Spurs, honestly, a point will do. I will be happy with the draw. But Liverpool will be out for blood after dropping points in their past 2 matches, back-to-back matches without a win, right? For you guys? Yeah, 2 draws in a row. So, again, I say with all that said, how are you feeling?
I don't know, man. I always get nervous, but we always do usually pull it out or at least get a tie. And that one that you had that you just reminded me of, I think I pushed it to the back of my mind for a reason. But yeah, I feel pretty confident. I don't think anything this season I've ever seen from Liverpool is maybe not confident in any game. So I think it's just one of those things. But what's crazy is that if you look at this on paper, like just take the wins out of it and take the loss draws, and you see the goals for, goals against, goal differential, you'd be like, okay, these 2 of the top 3 teams going against each other, right? And then you look at the table and Tottenham's in 10th, and you're like, okay, what in the hell happened? And you go through all their games. A lot of it's been bad luck. You've kind of shot yourself in the foot as well a couple of times, but I don't know. I just hope you keep not doing well during this game, or you don't figure it out.
Not doing well.
Yeah, I hope you don't figure it out yet. And I hope we get back on the winning part of it, because these draws are kind of hard to watch for us as well. Arnslot is put back in the win column there.
And I think I would honestly that's stupid. I would prefer Liverpool to win over Chelsea. Honestly, I don't want to see Chelsea win it. But this is a crazy one because Spurs typically play very well against Liverpool, but we don't really win the games. You know what I mean? Like, we always go up a goal or 2, and then we never actually win the match. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Every one of these games is always fun to watch. But yeah,
And
usually ends up with a Liverpool win.
we get a couple more of them because you talked about the Carabao Cup. We just
Yes.
drew each other. So I think we
Yes.
play early January and early February for the
Hell yeah.
next leg. So we'll get a couple
Awesome.
more of these games in this year too.
Well, hopefully y'all are rotating because y'all have Champions League matches, and you know what I mean. You don't need to win the Carabao Cup.
We did just rotate against. We had a 17-year-old in Ione in, and we still won. He did actually pretty good, but he in the second half.
Okay, all right, enough with that. We don't need this. Okay. Moving on. I see Liverpool winning, just in case I didn't say that already. This is not one of those like poor me. I just every time we play, I never am confident. We play City. I'm confident we'll win that match. Manchester United, I'm confident we'll win that one. There's just certain teams, specifically Chelsea, Newcastle, and Liverpool, we just can't beat. So yeah, this isn't one that I'm necessarily too excited about, but it'll be fun. It should be fun. There's always goals in it. I'll say that much. Okay. Next match we're going to talk about is Manchester United versus Bournemouth. The Cherries are definitely one of the surprise teams this season as they are just outside the European places and we're nearly halfway done. They take on a weird Manchester United side who haven't quite hit the heights they're hoping yet. With the future of Amorim, these early days probably still going to be bright. But United are coming fresh off a Carabao Cup quarterfinal loss to Tottenham, where both teams spent a ton of energy in a match that ended 4-3. And this could play a factor. This could definitely play a factor in both matches, to be frank. The Cherries have already beat Spurs, City, Arsenal in this Premier League. Spurs, City, and Arsenal in this Premier League season. And adding Manchester United's scalp to that collection will go a long way to getting them to that coveted top 6 and into the European places. And I just didn't see that at the beginning of the season. That would be really cool to see Bournemouth up there. Not at the expense of Spurs, though, please. So we shall see how this one ends, as I like to say, apparently. Shall see. But I don't think that Manchester United will win this one. I think Bournemouth are the team to beat right now. And Manchester United, they'll probably be good in a beginning of next season, maybe even a couple months from now. I just don't see them stringing together some wins right now. Maybe I'm just hoping that Bournemouth is good. We took their striker and now they're like beating us and other teams. It just makes sense how it works. But Vic, I don't even need to ask you. I know you're going Bournemouth here.
Yes, I'm going 100% going Bournemouth.
Of course.
Yeah. We'll see though, because Bournemouth they got to string some wins together if they want to get those Champions League positions. I think even if they win this one, I think they'll still be, unless Manchester City and Nottingham Forest lose also. They would go up to third, but they'll still be in like fifth place if they Manchester even get the point off. So it's going to be tough for them to try to do that. I think if they can they've had some scalps that are pretty impressive already. Manchester United, maybe they play with a little bit more fire against Manchester United and try to get another win and try to get in those European spots. So we'll see. It's gonna be fun.
It'd be a cool story too. It'd be a cool story too to see Bournemouth. I can't remember my notes from this off season or this going into this season, but I think it was Bournemouth or Brighton. I keep getting it mixed up, but they've never been to Europe before, so it's kind of like their first time. They're pushing to get it done. So that'd be cool. That'd be fun to watch them. I mean, even if it's in the Conference League, right? Like they can play pretty well, but then you don't want to see them do what's happening to a couple of other teams like Heidenheim and Bologna, where they're playing for the first time in Europe and then getting their asses whooped in both competitions. Bologna's turned around a little bit, but anyway, you get my point. But Bournemouth, they definitely can get this one done, and we will see this coming this weekend. I almost said my line again. Anyway, I think Bournemouth will get it done. We'll leave it there. That's what's happening this weekend. We hope everyone's going to have a fun-filled soccer weekend with all 4 leagues going for the last time until January 10th or something like that. It's going to be a bit of a break. So sit back, chill out, and watch some soccer, people. Vic, take us home.
Well, I appreciate everybody. Do me a favor. Take a look down here. You see that episode 33? If Danny P doesn't fix this in post, ignore that. It's actually episode 32. So ignore that down there. While you're down there, go ahead and click like, subscribe. Comment down, let us know what you think we need to be talking about more, or just give us your thoughts on what you got coming up this weekend. And also, if you want to see a different kind of podcast stuff we do in here, if you want to see a different segment or something like that, let us know what you think down below. Follow us on all our social medias. Everything's at No Business Soccer Podcast, except X. It's at No Biz Soc Pod. And we will talk to you soon. And have a good weekend, everybody. Peace.